Well, we begin this Saturday with sad news, the death of a political trailblazer in this country, former leader of the federal NDP, Alexa McDonough, dying at the age of 77. Now, McDonough was the first woman in this country to lead a major political party, the Nova Scotia NDP, back in 1980. She died this morning in a care home in Halifax, and tributes are now pouring in as McDonough's legacy is being remembered by Canadians coast to coast to coast. We begin our coverage today with the CBC's Kayla Hounsell in Halifax.
Certainly an important part of her legacy is the way she paved the way for so many female politicians who came behind her. She was first elected leader of the Nova Scotia NDP in 1980 and then went on to win a seat in the Nova Scotia legislature the following year in 1981. At that time, she was the only NDP MLA, but also the only female MLA in the entire Nova Scotia legislature. She didn't even have a washroom separate for female MLAs at the time, and said that she was the subject of sexism and misogyny, but really persevered and really did pave the way and bring so many women who came behind her along with her. She stepped down from her role as leader of the Nova Scotia NDP in 1994, said so at the time that she did so with joy and no regrets. But then the following year, in 1995, went on to become leader of the federal party and won a seat in the House of Commons in 1997. Which she continued then to fight for social justice causes and gender equity. She stepped down from her role as leader of the federal party in 2003, but continued to serve as MP for 2 years after that. And when she did step down, she said that, in her own words, she said that she was disappointed that she couldn't translate her personal success, that personal popularity, if you will, into more electoral success, more seats for the party. She was never the premier, but she is credited with laying the groundwork for Darrell Dexter's NDP government here in Nova Scotia, and of course, Jack Layton's orange wave that swept across Canada, Michael.
And how is she being remembered? Given all that she did on both the provincial and federal fronts, how are people remembering her today?
Well, the reaction to her death has been swift. It's come from people of all political stripes and from across the country. We heard from current NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who said today is a sad day for Canada. Alexa McDonough was the first woman to lead a major political party in Canada. She dedicated her life to social justice, championed women in politics, and never backed down from a challenge. We'll miss her dearly. Rest in power, Alexa. We also heard from former Conservative MP Lisa Raitt, who said, "I wouldn't have grown up in Nova Scotia with the belief that women belonged in politics, but for Alexa McDonough. She was a role model for many, including me. My condolences to her family and friends." And from Megan Leslie, who succeeded Alexa McDonough as the NDP MP for Halifax, who said, "What a sad day as we learn about the death of Alexa McDonough. The collective sadness we feel today is testament to the kind of life she led and her impact on so many of us, whether we knew her personally or not. My deepest condolences go to her family." So, Michael, I think, again, no matter the political stripe right across the country, even some of the journalists who covered her so extensively, people are really just talking about their sadness today and remembering her not only as a trailblazer, but also just as a very decent human being.
Kayla, thank you for that. The CBC's Kayla Hounsell. Well, for more on the life and legacy of Alexa McDonough, we're now joined by Olivia Chow. Olivia, a former NDP member of Parliament, her late husband, Jack Layton, succeeding Alexa as the federal NDP leader. Olivia, always good to speak with you. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Now, as we said, it was Jack who followed Alexa as the federal NDP leader. And I'm wondering, you who saw all of that happen, I'm wondering about your own thoughts today. What did you think of when you heard the news?
It's sad, but it's also, in many ways, remembering Alexa was uplifting. She actually stayed on as a member of Parliament after Jack became the leader. That's gracious and kind. Who does that, right? And no ego. And one of her motto was, "Be grateful every day." By gosh, we need that during pandemic's time, to be mindful, to be grateful. She also gave me a beautiful pendant that reminded me of children, and they were surrounded by children because she knew that at the time that I was very committed, still very committed to have early childhood education nationally. And she was so giving that she would take one of her more beloved jewelry and pass it on to me so we could continue to battle and fight for a national early learning childcare program for children of Canada.
You know, you use a few words there, gracious and kind among them. And I think about, because I used to work on Parliament Hill when Alexa was there, and I used to see her at the downtown Y on the mornings. And regardless of the morning, she was always smiling, always very kind. And so it's sad to hear the news today. But you also talk about someone who was willing to go into battle for causes that were important to her, and yet she demanded and commanded the respect of everybody, regardless of political stripe. Talk to us about the human side of Alexa that had so many people, regardless of partisanship, really admiring the person she was.
Yeah, she was the first leader in Canada of a major political party, and imagine being the only woman in Nova Scotia NDP in 1990, and then voting for the right to choose, the only woman doing that, the only person voting for it. It was tough, but it's that sense of courage and determination that garner respect from everybody. If I may, Michael, let me tell you a small story to illustrate that. Now, a year after 9/11, you're talking about 2002 now. An innocent Canadian came home after vacation via United States. And Maha was jailed and then deported to a Syrian prison. Imagine this 6 foot by 3 foot dark Maharaj called a grave. It's a size smaller than your couch. Being in there in dark with rats and being jailed there. This guy is innocent. He's a Canadian. And because of Islamophobia, for a full year, no one other than Alexa was saying, no, we have to get him freed. And this man was being tortured. He's innocent. No one believed it because people think, maybe he was a terrorist. And had it not for Alexa's deep commitment to justice, this innocent man, Canadian, would have continued to rot in the dark jail. And of course, this is because of that determination, I think, it shines through. And no matter which party you belong to, whether you're a politician or not, someone that have that kind of guts and commitment to social justice, you respect it, right? And she's so gracious.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. So a trailblazer for women, standing and fighting against Islamophobia when it was not easy to do so. I also wonder then, acknowledging the fact that Jack followed her in federal office, what part she played in essentially laying the groundwork for the orange wave that Jack created for the NDP in the next federal election.
Well, she showed the way by getting to the core values, because another one of her motto is that whatever you do for others, you leave behind. So you have to be kind, connect with what people are experiencing, whether it is not being able to afford decent housing, or being worried about pension being too small, really connecting with people. She's known to be Alexa. So that connection to ordinary Canadians, she laid that groundwork and taught Jack well. And which is why Jack was able to, and kept saying, never, don't let anyone tell you it can't be done. And that commitment to justice, gender equality, and social democracy really helped Jack in pushing for that connection with ordinary Canadians that might have explained that orange wave.
The orange wave, I should say.
But Michael, we as Canadians don't celebrate our pioneers very well. There are other people now that are pushing for gender equality, for example. So there's a creation right now today of the Alexa McDonough Women's Leadership Center by a foundation, Tommy Douglas Jack Layton Foundation, and we'll capture the stories, whether it's Alexa and other women's leaders who fought for justice, and then help train and inspire other women to make Canada better and more just and more equal, to have a better future, equal future.
And this is just being announced right now, Olivia?
Yeah, and just being announced today by the Douglas Coldwell Layton Foundation to celebrate her legacy, but also to continue that work, because by gosh, women do not have equal voice in every level of government, especially in the House of Commons. So we need to support more women leaders coming forward.
Well, Olivia, thank you. And before people send me an email, the Orange Wave 2011 election, but Olivia, thank you. Really lovely to get your thoughts on the legacy and the life of Alexa McDonough.
Thank you so much.